Let's welcome tonight's guest. He's so big his body's divided into both commercial and residential units. TNA wrestler Tyrus. Yes, like a rock star's hotel room, she's always trashed. Joanna Osaczynski. His beard is home to 5 small hummingbirds. Gavin McInnes. Nice sock. If good news were a parade, she would rain on it. National Review reporter Kat Timpf. Yeah. And first-time guest, he's got the mind of Bernie Sanders, the tie of Tucker Carlson, and the hearts of all the ladies in a bag under his bed. Harlan Hill, Democratic strategist and chair of Democrats for Trump. But first, all right, it was the exit that rocked the UK this week. Yes, Harry Styles of One Direction is going solo. We pause now to honor this legendary artist. That's enough. That's enough. I wish you well, old friend. Now to Brexit. Yes, Great Britain voted to leave the EU, shocking the media. Here's the staff of the New York Times taking the news.
And I need to.
So what's this really about? Is it nationalism, fear of change, the spread of Islamism? Earlier this week, former London Mayor Boris Johnson got to the meat of it.
Boris, can you name me a single haggis? We cannot export haggis to America.
Haggis. 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 That's what this means for America. Could the UK now negotiate a free trade agreement with us that includes haggis? A banned export since the 70s, this savory dish is a delicacy, which is Scottish for something a drunk threw up. Haggis is made with the liver, lungs, and heart of a sheep. All that's missing is the collar. You mix in chopped onions and stock, add in some oatmeal and raw fat, and you take all of it and you stuff it into a sheep's stomach. Yes, the casing is an actual sheep's stomach. Pretty funny, stuffing a sheep into his own stomach. Oh, something I always wanted to do with Sean Penn. Now, due to this ban, we've tried to make our own imitation haggis here, which is like replacing the Beatles with Coldplay. It's not the same. Some have a fake casing, some are vegetarian. Vegetarian haggis, otherwise known as vagis. Without real haggis, you also don't get haggis hurling, which is a sport. It's better than soccer. So, how did Brexit happen? Strip away nationality from a proud people, push polarizing identities, mock their need for security. With that, you just asked people to give up what they hold dear, which is themselves. See, haggis is a tradition. It goes back to the 15th century. It's part of British culture, and that's what the vote's probably about. It's like religion. You know, people see more mosques than chapels, and they worry, even if they don't go to Mass. It's the same thing with haggis. Maybe not everyone eats it, but it's good to know that it's still there.
Period.
I did not compare haggis to religion, but maybe I did. All right, I want everybody's opinion on this. I'm going to start with you, big man, Tyrus.
You know, the stock market crashed.
Yeah.
The pound is done.
Yeah.
Jon Snow left the watch. The 7 kingdoms are all tore up. I mean, who's going to keep the White Walkers out now? I'm really confused.
You
Brexit,
are.
right?
Yeah, it's Brexit.
Yeah. I fell asleep reading about Brexit and watching Game of Thrones at the same time, so they're kind of the same thing. But
yes.
I mean, it's change. So, you know, let's wait to see what happens before we start throwing our hands up and calling it Armageddon.
Yeah. You know what? So, in a way, using your metaphor, England is the dog that ate the EU's face.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, they Joffrey'd him out in the middle of nowhere. Yep.
Thank you very much for that. Harlan, what did you make of this?
Well, I mean, I look at it as like a rebellion of the working class against, you know, the ruling class. And I think that it sort of foreshadows what we have coming in November. I don't know.
Yeah, I think so, too, because the people that voted for this really didn't say they were voting for it, Gavin, and then they voted for it, which is exactly what might happen with Trump, which we'll get to in a minute. But, you know, you were born in Scotland.
I was born in England. My parents are Scottish, yes.
Yes. So give us your opinion, perhaps in Scottish.
Well, I spoke to my parents about this, and I said, did you guys, it looks like you didn't vote for breakfast, Brexit, sorry. They do always vote for breakfast, and that's clearly haggis every day. And my parents, they said, well, you have to understand, Gavin, is we didn't vote at all. I mean, there's about 1 million people voted for Brexit and 1 million that didn't show up, so that's like 2 million. So in a sense, Scotland did vote to separate. And I think the Brits in England are the same way. I talked to my friends there, and they said, I wasn't going to muck about with it, but I did look into it. Eventually, I realised that we can't talk about the Muslim problem if people won't even recognise. I mean, look at Tommy Robinson in Luton. And he's not even allowed to go near Muslim areas in his own town, you know? So I just thought, this is beyond negotiation. We're cutting the cord.
There you go.
And I said to both of them, I go, I don't understand.
Joe, where do you see England going? Is it like it's like they dumped a rich boyfriend, a rich boyfriend from Belgium?
Well, yeah, and as soon as you do that, right, you're like, I'm fine.
Yes.
I'm gonna be fine.
And then you get a job waitressing.
Yeah, but you know, it's never really the same. A lot of people don't know what's gonna happen.
Right.
That's why the 2 top searches on Google in the UK right after this vote were, what happens when we leave the EU and what is the EU? Yeah. So I do think a lot of the vote was emotional rather than it was maybe practical, but now is when you have to practically apply what you're going to do. Thankfully, there's 2 years to kind of make it happen. Hopefully, you know, Great Britain can set themselves up for success with a great plan during that time. And I'm optimistic.
Yeah, you always are.
I choose to be.
I love it.
You what?
Because I love watching like breakups, other people,
right.
And I love watching global governments take a hit, and this just had it all. And like after the breakup, it's like it is a little uncomfortable and it's hard.
Right.
You're like, I'm an independent woman, but you're also like, I don't know how my air conditioning works. I'm like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Like, but eventually now, like, not to brag, I figured it out. It's a comfortable temperature in my apartment. You can always call Ernesto, the super downstairs, and Britain will be fine.
No, it's true. It's true. It's like you got it. There is that terror of breaking up, but
just because it's better to be alone than be with the wrong one.
Yeah, it's so
This
true.
isn't a normal breakup, though. You still have to live with her for 2 years, so it's not like, hey, it's over. See you tomorrow.
It's like you have a kid together.
Yeah, we're just
It's like England and the EU had a kid together, and it's Slovakia.
Yeah, and you just hear the silverware every night.
You know who's not in the EU? Switzerland. Switzerland's like the most wealthiest country in the world. They are like they have the most millionaires per capita. I'm making this up. All right. So who did this Brexit ordeal work out for the most? That's right. This couldn't have worked out better for Donald. Not only is this vote being referred to as a victory for Trumpism around the world, he happened to be in the UK. This is crazy. He's like Zelig. As the results became final, he had this to say from Scotland.
To be honest with you, I think a lot of it has to do with immigration. But I also think a lot of it has to do with the fact that they wanted to be independent. They got tired of seeing stupid decisions, just like the American people are tired of seeing stupid decisions, whether it's the Iran deal, whether it's the border where people just flow across the border like Swiss cheese. They're tired of seeing stupid decisions made.
So Swiss cheese flowing across the border. Yeah, I think he had it backwards, Tyrus. What do you think?
Okay. You remember, I've been here for a long. I used to wear the Donald Trump shirt.
Yes.
I don't have a Donald Trump shirt anymore. He didn't answer the question.
So you're no longer pro-Trump.
Napoleon Dynamite have the same. It's probably the greatest thing of all time. He didn't answer the question.
Yeah.
Like, he just answered it's probably if it's not the greatest. Well, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
And geez, Scotland. Yeah. It's like Iran. And
Well, the Trump,
Check out my hair.
the Trump shine is coming off you because you
It's just-
you were on board early.
This was the thing for you.
No, it's been he's just, every time he gets on the TV, I'm like, what? I turn the TV off, and then it's on my phone. It's like everywhere I go, I step out my house. He says this again. He said, but he's not saying anything.
I know.
And his base doesn't care.
No, nobody cares.
They don't,
do whatever
they don't
you
care.
want.
They're still singing the wall song.
That's
a fact at the airport. I was eating breakfast at the airport, and a dude came up to me, and he had a little child in his hand, and his child sung, the song was like 2.
Yeah.
Said, hey, Tyrus, and sung me the wall song. And said thank you to me.
Yeah, that's...
Gab?
Yeah?
Thoughts?
He answered the question fine. He said there was a lot of factors. Immigration was a big one. You know, the UK purposely threw Muslims at the British working class problem just to antagonize them. And Brexit said, you know what, we've had enough of this weird class game you guys have been playing for thousands of years. We're snipping it. And Trump recognized that, and he's going to do that to America. Whereas with America, the problem is Mexican immigration and a foreboding long-term risk of, you know, recognizing this canary in the coal mine that is Islam in Britain. We're not there yet. We won't be for a while if we follow the Trump footsteps.
Is anyone making sense here, Harlan?
To be honest with you, I don't know that Trump really won this week. You know, whatever. Put this aside. I think Barack Obama is the one that actually really lost. You know, he tried to go over there and intimidate the Brits and say, like, hey, you know, if you leave, you're going to go back into the back of the queue. And, you know, I thought we had a special relationship with these people, and he's trying to intimidate them, you know, and it's not going to work.
Well, yeah, him using the words like special friend.
Yes.
Like, no one wants to be like your special friend. Like, we're secret friends.
It's also something your uncle says to you when he shouldn't.
Yeah.
My special friend.
No, that's they do use that lingo.
That's the word.
I saw a movie about that. Kat, last word to you.
I had only respectful uncles my whole life.
That's good. Yeah, that's true, by the way. Uncles get a bad rap.
They do. I had some great uncles. They took me to see Beauty and the Beast on ice.
I'm an uncle. I'm an uncle. There could be, you know...
oh, no.
My nephew was on this show. I did not touch him. Making that clear. He's a fine young man, just graduated from college. I think. Maybe that's not him. That was the guy that I met in Port Authority. All right. Coming up, I will never mention haggis again. But first, craziness on Capitol Hill. Democrats stage a sit-in on the House floor. Did it accomplish anything? Of course it didn't. Boy, is our House a mess.
The clerk will report the title of the joint resolution.
House Joint Resolution 88. Joint resolution disapproving the rules by the...
Rise up, Democrats. Rise up, Americans. This cannot stand. We will occupy this floor.
Oh, shut up. The yelling, the crying, the inappropriate sitting. It was like being at the world's worst airport check-in. Now, apparently, this is all about guns. After a terror attack that killed 49, our leaders do this. They push a lousy bill that nobody likes. Everyone says it stinks, just to fundraise. It's gross. The Republicans didn't meet their demands. But why should they? Because these folks sat on the floor? Why bother to win elections then? Just sit in and demand. Where could they have learned this stuff? So it's over, done, nothing fixed. But after terror, this is now the drill. We divide, we perform, and then we call it historic. But the real problem is intact. It's priorities. Instead of fighting terror, we engage in theater. Rather than hard and soft targets, we put on a show. And it's a show where everyone involved is protected 24/7 by dudes with guns. And still, they blame the guns. But look, I'll listen to your logical gun control ideas if it's coupled with a plan to fight terror. But one must wonder why it's so easy for the president to say the NRA and not radical Islam. Could it be that one is actually scarier than the other? Still, you can't blame the Democrats for this Occupy opera. Is it really the worst thing that's happened in Congress?
I love this story, and so I'm going to read it to you. Sam I am. That Sam I am, that Sam I am. I do not like that Sam I am. Do you like green eggs and ham? I do not like them, Sam I am. I do not like green eggs and ham.
That's not all we didn't like. All right. So, what's up, Tyrus?
I just want to give Cruz a hug, man. It's over. She's not coming back.
Yeah.
He's sitting outside her house singing her a song, and her new boyfriend's like, "Hey, that's a good song. We're gonna go to bed now." Like, he can't get any worse. Like the Green A. I'm sure they said his family watched. They didn't.
Security. You were Snoop's security guy. What is this gun argument? And is there any valid argument to it with Orlando?
Like if I had to pick one thing about the gun argument, I could say maybe the Dickey Act. Maybe you could go back on that one. But
what's that act?
That's the one you make it a little bit harder for people to get, like the gun show loops and stuff like that. But as far as like what happened in Orlando, the NRA had nothing to do with that. You know, and there has been things like that in the past where. Before that, the biggest event, I believe it was 39 people were killed in actually New Orleans, and he burned the place down. So he used fire. So obviously we're not going to burn fire because we need it. My thing about the gun control thing is it's just what they were doing. They're pandering for elections and stuff. So when they rerun I sat on the floor and I fought hard for gun control. They didn't do anything. The NRA only has 5 million people in it. But they are consistent, and their answer is the same: no.
Yes.
No. That's easy. No. And no one else does that.
Not only was it a stunt for the House, you had all these senators coming over. You had, Elizabeth Warren coming over with donuts, and they wanted to get every photo op they could possibly get. And what is this all for? It's for a bill that's not going to solve any problem. Right, That's the most frustrating thing. And it's not just gun control and terrorism we have a problem with. This economy's stagnant or in free for all, depending on who you ask. And I haven't seen any Democratic sit-ins for these issues. It's really frustrating.
Well, but I haven't seen anyone's okay, maybe a constitutional amendment. Like there is a thing called an amendment. There are rules for how to do that. You can't deny someone's Second Amendment rights without due process, like they're trying to do with these bills. But they don't see them doing that. Like there's nowhere in the Constitution that says, okay, the Constitution's got to be what it is, unless you sit down for a really long time and you stay sitting and then it changes. No, they're not doing this for results. They're doing it for attention, which is something I understand personally, but it's not that's my job.
Yes, and you weren't elected.
Right.
And the media did give a lot of attention to this sit-in, calling it historic in almost every broadcast that I saw. But the thing about sit-ins is they're usually for rights, for providing more, not stripping away rights. And with my performances, I like a little choreography. Like you got to work for it.
Yeah, that's
sit-in
true.
seems a little lazy.
Yes, exactly. Sit-ins are my kind of protest, Gavin, because I'm very lazy. So the idea of
bra burning is more effective.
Yes, that is true.
It's around the same time. No, when you see that though, you go, if I was a babysitter, I would go, that seems reasonable. There's all these guys shooting people, spraying bullets and killing everyone, and they want to stop it. And then you go to Google and you go, oh, the guns don't go, they go just like all guns. So they're fighting a mythical gun. And then you go, well, how many of these mass shootings are there? Oh, there's like 50 casualties a year over the past 8 years. And you go, 50 casualties? That's like air conditioners. What about gang warfare? Oh, that's 30,000, and that's handguns. So you look it up and you go, you're not even close to what's going on. And then you go, wait a minute. You must have looked it up. Oh, you're lying. You're virtue signaling. You've already Googled this, and you're basically just catering to babysitters who apparently are a powerful political force.
At least look like you're doing something. Like have a book on guns going, that's bad. Come around, you guys.
Ripping out pages and crumpling them up.
Texting the wife, sorry, honey, got to stay late at the office tonight.
No, but they did that. Nancy Pelosi sat through a gun catalog and literally crossed out guns that looked mean.
Can I bring up? She did. Here's Nancy Pelosi congratulating the media on their coverage.
Thank you all. Thank you for. I never saw the gallery so full. We really kept you up late and during the night and all the rest. Thank you for your interest. And we have 6 pages. They gave me 6 pages today. 6 small print, full pages listing of newspapers around the country where the sit-in was on the front page. I thank you for that.
That was moving, right? That was incredible.
That could be a mime. That could
Yeah,
be
that was
next.
amazing.
Isn't that when you get caught drunk driving? You know when you get caught drunk driving the cop and you go, I was going to see my friend and he had 6 letters I had to give, and you're wondering, am I slurring? Is it obvious?
In case we didn't know what a page was.
Yes.
Yeah,
a page is about this.
You know,
by the
pages?
way, it's often refreshing to hear somebody in government confess to having 6 pages. Usually they deny it vehemently until they are arrested. All right. Up next, my revolutionary new workout. It's called Sitting in a Closet and Weeping Quietly Until I Pass Out. It's day 5,000 of Hillary being awful. Can't she get awfuler? Of course she can. Hillary Clinton's got more problems than a calculus test. It always cracks me up, that joke, because there's math problems. You can use it if you like. First, there's the FBI investigation into her emails. This week, during a lawsuit deposition, Clinton's IT guy, Brian Pagliano, invoked his Fifth Amendment right 125 times. It would have been faster to invoke the 625th Amendment once. Anyway, Clinton's other problem is getting voters to like her. She's less liked than an uphill walk in the heat after a feverish bout of diarrhea. See, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, shouldn't eat before you hike. A recent Bloomberg poll shows only 55% of Bernie Sanders supporters will vote for Clinton. 22% are moving over to Trump. It's true. 18%. This is pretty big for Gary Johnson. Big Johnson. Cue Bernie.
Are you going to vote for Hillary Clinton in November?
Yes. Yeah, I think the issue right here is I'm going to do everything I can to defeat Donald Trump.
All right, Joanne, both candidates need to reach millennials. How are they going to do that?
Well, I think the problem is that no one's really asking the questions that millennials want, and that goes for both Hillary and Trump. But luckily,
yes,
Kat and I scored exclusive interviews with both candidates this week. Let's take a look.
Nice.
Mr. Trump, sometimes I have a problem with authority. How should I deal with my boss?
You've got to knock him out. If you knock him out, there's nobody can judge against you.
Isn't that battery?
Isn't it time for a law to get rid of Carrot Top once and for all?
I believe so.
I hate prop comedy. Thank you for understanding.
Can you believe Big Bang Theory is still on the air?
That's actually a positive thing, not a negative thing. That's a positive.
That's gross. You don't have eyes.
Governor Gary Johnson climbed Mount Everest. Why haven't you?
The terrain is very, very difficult.
Can't handle the snow. All right.
A lot of effort, and we learn nothing.
As usual,
Yes.
we learn nothing.
Yes.
I learned a lot.
Yeah, you did, I guess. I want to get to Harlan, because you're a Sanders supporter who've now started a Trump PAC, correct?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I mean, look, and everyone thinks that's crazy, but there's a lot of commonality between Trump and Sanders, actually, when you drill it down. Look at trade. That's a great example. Hillary Clinton, she supported NAFTA in the 90s, and then she supported TPP when she was the Secretary of State, and now she's backtracked on it because she had to in the primary, but nobody trusts her on it. And over the course of NAFTA and TPP, millions of jobs been sent overseas. And Trump, he's saying the same thing Bernie Sanders is on trade. Campaign finance reform, anti-establishment, there's a lot of similarities.
Yeah, plus, I don't know if you've heard, but Bernie people don't like Wall Street.
Yeah, I've heard that.
I've
heard that. Interesting. Gavin, are you surprised to see so many people not liking Hillary and perhaps if Sanders moving to Trump?
They've only just begun. And Trump's been sort of playing with Hillary like the way a cat plays with a mouse just before he eviscerates it. And it's really about to get incredibly brutal. But millennials are definitely more pro-Trump because not only is he great with Twitter, but millennials, especially millennial males, know how horrible social justice warriors are because they dated them. So when they drive him nuts, they see it as revenge for all the horrible girlfriends they've had.
Well, that's an interesting thing because that's the thing I don't like about Trump supporters, the angry males who have a problem with women.
Well, then you got a problem with me, my friend.
That was actually a pointed reference at you, Gavin.
Well, I would figure the head of the He-Man Woman Haters Club is going to get annoyed by that.
Regular man.
Tyrus, you're fuming today over this, aren't you?
I mean, well, first of all, the numbers, the Trump base, and those numbers mean absolutely nothing.
Right.
Bernie technically still hasn't quite given it up to Hillary anyways. And so I would imagine those Trump numbers are probably a lot higher than 22%. And like I said, poll numbers with Donald Trump mean absolutely nothing because most of his base don't answer those calls. They don't. They see a number at their house, oh, bill collector. They're not going to answer it. So, oh, I'm lying, okay? I'm lying. Right. How many people answer the phone when you don't know the number?
Actually, you're absolutely right. I've been dodging American Express for 1 year. I have. You know why? Because you guys screwed me over. That drives me nuts. I've spent an hour a day.
You know who could fix that for you? Donald Trump.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
He would probably tell you when you answer the phone and talk dirty to them and say how really great he is and how stupid they are. That would probably be his answer.
All right. Any last words? Kat, you look a little dazed.
Yeah, I was just thinking about talking dirty on the phone with Donald Trump.
He'll make something big again.
I got a last word. Can I say one last thing?
What?
These conservatives are driving me nuts now. Trump is the nominee. Every vote that's not for him is a vote for Hillary. So let's stop complaining and saying never Trump. That's done now. We have to elect him or we're going to get a Democrat. You can fight me later in January.
You're not just going to get a Democrat. You're going to get a Democrat, Hillary Clinton, who's beholden to Wall Street, that has a 30-year track record of lies, deceit, and fraud. She is so damaging if we elect her. I mean, it's not just a Democrat. I mean,
Benghazi.
it's like the worst Democrat.
Benghazi.
The worst.
Emails.
Benghazi.
Monica.
Yeah.
Puma.
They killed Kathleen Wiley's cat.
Yeah, all right.
Watergate, Travelgate, Vince Foster.
Yes. Up next, does yoga cause cancer? No, but I just wanted to scare my neighbor who does yoga with the curtains drawn. It's disgusting. But first, is it ever okay to quit right away? Some millennials think less is more when it comes to giving notice that they're out the door at work. Well, is it okay or not to quit on the spot? According to the Wall Street Journal, which is owned by our parent company, Forever 21, more workers are leaving jobs without giving 2 weeks' notice. Some bosses say young employees bail without warning because they feel little attachment to their jobs. Others claim older employees often do it because they feel underappreciated after years of work. I can relate. It's why I quit my last job as a trampoline.
Oh my God, trampoline! Trampoline! Oh my God! Oh my God!
That was me walking off my job. Gavin, you founded Vice.
Yep.
You were a boss. You must have had hundreds of employees.
Millions.
Thoughts?
Okay, first of all, whenever you read these millennial stories, they're written by millennials who are incompetent.
Oh.
So she's saying a lot of millennials would just quit on the job. That's true. And then she goes, old people do it too, trying to do her job, but she's so bad at her job that we can see through it. And we know it's just millennials, and we know that from personal experience. They just walk out because they're spoiled brats who have lived in a bubble their whole lives. You know what they do? Oh. They come to interviews with their parents.
What?
And they bring their parents to work later, and then when you fire them, they run out hysterically, and their dad calls. And he goes, what the hell is going on? And you go, none of your business, idiot.
I don't want to bash all millennials.
Oh, they're the worst.
Okay, well, first of all, the whole 2 week thing, that's a job thing, right? That's establishment.
Yeah.
Right? I don't want to work here anymore. Okay, give us 2 weeks so we can replace you. Have you trained the guy who's replaced you when you leave? Hey, Tyrus, you're fired. Leave now.
Yeah.
No, can I have 2 weeks, get my bills in order, maybe find a new... No, just get out.
Yeah.
So you know what? I call it a blaze of glory.
Yes.
And former employers are watching. I went out in a blaze of glory every time. That's the way you see it? Well, how about this then? How about I quit? I'm out, deuces, and I walk out, throw my towel, and I'll say to a friend, let's go, man.
Yeah.
And then they go.
Yes,
and then the two of us are unemployed.
I quit Boston Market right before Thanksgiving.
Oh, wow. That's brutal.
I had things to do.
Millennial.
That's like a department store Santa just quitting on
I also
December 17th.
rode my bike in LA to work uphill every single day, Gavin.
For
I had motivation,
mile?
Gavin.
A mile?
No, for more than a mile, Gavin. I didn't own a
2
car.
miles?
I'm a very hard worker. I just didn't have time to serve turkey on Thanksgiving because I had to make my dreams come true.
But it's weird. Her dream was to eat turkey.
Yeah.
So she could have solved it, Harlan. What about you?
I swear to God, I had this happen. What Gavin described. We had an intern come into my last startup, and we hired him. And then the next day, his parents just walked in. They surveyed the room and then left unannounced. It was the strangest thing I've ever seen. So this is like really common.
You know what I
Can
said
you
to them?
imagine if your parents came in here and like surveyed your like work environment?
All right, but I got to. Okay, so let me give you an example because you're reminding me of this. And this was not a millennial because this happened in the 1990s. A guy in a job review brought his parents in the job review. So when we were sitting there, the editor and the managing editor are sitting there, and the guy came in with and one of his parents was ill, like connected to a device. It was a pure ploy, and I admired it. I thought that was amazing. I go, you are incredible. Joe.
I think what matters most with the quitting and the study, whatever, it's the reason for quitting. So if it's like a career change and you feel like underappreciated, like they said, I mean, 2 weeks is a courtesy, right? And if you feel like you haven't been shown that same courtesy, like why would you give that time? But if you need references, like you shouldn't just leave on the spot.
Also, Gavin keeps shaking his head, but Gavin, maybe as an employer, you just were creeping people out. Like, what if somebody just goes, "I got to get out of here"? This guy's he's taking pictures of me.
Or I don't want to be in that
shower.
office alone. I want my
They
parents
can't
there.
handle any kind of conflict because us old people bubbled them and taught them that bullying is wrong, and we didn't let them have jobs. We let illegals do their jobs. So when they have conflict at work, it's the first time. No, I mean like I'm doing a swooping gesture. So when they have conflict at work, they have a meltdown. And I said to one the other day, I said, you need to look in the mirror and say, "I'm not special and everyone is replaceable." Say it 100 times. And then he quit.
And then what did your son say? He has adorable kids.
My kids have quit me, actually.
Yes, they have fired you. Gavin and I have been fired a total of like how many times?
I don't think I've ever not been fired.
Neither have I. I've been fired 3 times.
Yeah.
3 times. I enjoy being fired.
It's fired at least 50.
Really?
Yeah, I worked at Arby's once for about 7 seconds.
Yeah. I'm afraid to ask what you did.
They asked me to sweep. I ain't gonna be sweeping no floors. It's like, well, then you can go. Well, I guess I'm out then. Yeah.
See, these coddled millennials, they can't handle conflict.
I'm a grown-ass man who don't want to sweep floors. I thought I was doing the cash register. Apparently I was too big and had to be in the back and sweep stuff, and I didn't want to do that.
Ah, so they were hiding you from the public.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, like they could, like if you applied at Abercrombie and Fitch, they would go, we'll have them fold in the basement.
No, they wouldn't.
Yeah, they would.
It would be like, sir, we don't have anything that you could possibly fit or hold in the store.
Is that beard real?
Please go away.
Is that beard real? Oh, okay. Which mosque?
We'll keep it on file. Your application will be on file.
Yes.
We'll be in touch.
All right.
Yeah.
Coming up, should you mail your medication to short TV talk show hosts? It's not a story, it's a suggestion. But first, why are celebrities such babies on Twitter? Because they're babies off Twitter too? Yes. In case celebrities needed even more coddling, Twitter has now given them a safe space. It's true, a new companion app to Twitter was launched this week called Twitter Engage, which allows users to interact less with those annoying normal people. Anyone can download the app, but it really only helps those who are famous. It will only show the user tweets they are mentioned in from verified accounts or people with similar follower bases. Therefore, they don't even have to remember that common folks even exist. Thank God. Common people are disgusting. I saw one the other day, in half. I knew it was a bad joke when I wrote it. All right, Gavin, you're on Twitter. You're offensive. Thoughts? Celebrities? Common folk? Separate them?
Twitter gave everyone in America a voice, and then pretty soon after we realized not everyone in America has anything to say. So now it's just blabbermouth.
Yeah.
And there already is a Twitter thing, by the way, for celebs called Slack, and it's getting too full. And now they're going to have another one and another one. I don't know. Look, I think the only people who should be talking are people on TV.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you very much for that.
I don't know. I love Twitter. I love the mean tweets the most.
Yes.
Yeah, but you're on TV.
Well, yeah, but like when some random dude, like if people like, oh, hi, I love you on TV, that's boring. But if someone's like, makes fun of my fangs or like says like, like I'm pale and gross and I have a man voice face and I look like a donkey. Like, get some sunlight, you weird masculine / child little boy. And I'm like, wow, you people are really watching very closely. I couldn't do without you. God bless you.
Do you know, by the way, this is a good point. This is a good point. When I was working at Red Eye, I weighed about 30 pounds more, and you know what got me to lose weight? That.
People calling you fat and sweaty.
Fat, sweaty, and the fold above my nose because it was fat, my face was fat.
That's still there.
It's still there, Gavin, thank you. And you're still here, unfortunately. Harlan, are you on Twitter?
I'm on Twitter.
That was insulting.
You trolled me one time.
Really?
You called me the Monopoly Man after I was on the O'Reilly Factor. With the bow tie and but what I was going to say is that what's wrong with just like blocking people that are offensive? Like if somebody's like a jerk, like you just block them. Like I don't know that I need this safe space thing.
Yeah. What's wrong, Tyrus?
I'm a professional wrestler.
Yeah.
So I have the worst Twitter people in the world. Me hate you. You block them. They change their name. Just add an extra letter behind it.
Yes.
They don't stop. So I have a new thing. I wish Twitter would just put out their addresses and what time. Because I'd love to go to their house and be like, so you said this about me on this?
That would be a great business to start up where you go, you're just a private detective that only tracks mean tweets. And then you can go, like, you pay, it's like the Rockford Files for revenge. It's like, it's $200 a day plus expenses.
I pitched that TV show. It was called Head or Gut.
Oh, really?
And I would go and knock on someone's door. Hey, tough guy 21, and it's usually not.
Yeah.
Did you call me a fat gorilla with bad beard? Oh, yeah. Head or gut? For those of you who don't know what head or gut means, I'm either going to punch you in the head or I'm going to punch you in the gut. Boom. Next episode.
Yeah. Very short segment. Joanne, thoughts?
I think that today's mean tweets are like yesterday's hate mail. So like celebrities used to have publicists who would like get all of their, or like assistants who would get all of their fan mail and sift through it for them, and they would hide all of the mean stuff so that the celebrities wouldn't see it.
Yes, that's
but
true.
now it's like you have to see the bad with the good because you want to reach out to your fans who are nice, and there's really no way to filter it.
That's true. Johnny Carson never saw his hate mail. And I bet he had
And he was a confident fella.
Yes.
What I do is if I ever have like a blemish on my face and someone notices it, I just convince myself that I showed it on purpose for feminism.
Oh, wow, it was empowering.
So yeah, it's empowering. I'm fighting the patriarchy, one zit at a time.
I mean, does this prepare stalkers?
I don't know. Maybe.
You know, because they get filtered and they just change their name. They write sweet stuff to you.
Hasn't
over
stopped
and
me.
over again.
All right. Don't go anywhere. Final Thoughts up next. That's a depressing title, Final Thoughts. It's usually where Gavin says something that upsets everyone and it never makes air. We're almost out of time, so...
What you've wanted to say all show, but haven't had the chance to say, so here's your chance to say it. Right now.
Gavin, to you first.
I was doing a lot of crapping on millennials there, and I want to just say that we started an organization, an all-male organization called the Proud Boys, #Proud Boys, and the only caveat is that we are all Western chauvinists who refuse to apologize for creating the modern world.
Harlan.
If you want higher taxes, more ISIS, and fewer jobs, vote for Hillary Clinton. If you don't, come follow me on Twitter.
There you go. Tires?
Well, after those two things, the only thing that pops in my head, I'm going to go shoot a movie in New Orleans this week, so I'm excited.
Who's in the movie?
Me.
Yeah, just you?
Just me.
Anybody
Monologue.
else? Who?
Oh, I can't quite say the name yet. I'm not allowed to release yet, but it's a doozy. It's a good one.
It's a doozy. All right. Is it Steve Doozy? Little Fox News humor. Where am I? Joe?
I will never understand beans on toast. Why do you want to put more starch on starch? The Brits are crazy.
I know it is. I tried that once, and then it weighs down the toast and falls. And it gives you gas.
It's soggy.
All right, Kat, last word.
This morning, I woke up next to a pot of spaghetti with a fork in it. And it was the best part of my day so far.
Everything was downhill. Thank you, Tyrus, Gavin McInnes, Harlan Hill. Good job, Joanne, Catherine, our lovely studio audience.